You like, subscribe, follow, giddy up.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they did it. They did it.
Left, beat left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Welcome in, everybody. This is Monday Morning Quarterback, and we're going to figure out a way to defend quarterbacks here. We are brought to you by the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox, and we know many of us and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. We are happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. If you need help, please call 856-651-8117. Tom Arnone, Ryan Brodo, the family out there joining us. Welcome in. We'll circle around a little around the NFL later on in the show. Jason Kelce getting cut, a little question mark, and is it time? And we'll get to people's thoughts on that later on in the show. QB options and free agency, since they want to tell us that they want to bring somebody in to compete with Jalen Hurts. We'll go over the Eagles QB rumors, if that's in the draft, if that's in free agency, etc. So we'll dive into all that. And our poll question, which is brought to you by Body Check Wellness, and you can use promo code A2D for 20% off. That's bodycheckwellness.com. Promo code A2D, get you 20% off. The poll, the Philadelphia Eagles should bring in competition for Jalen Hurts. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Like, subscribe, follow, download. Join our conversation today. Join our conversation every goddamn day. And air it out with us, all right? Because, I wasn't happy with drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round last year. I know the majority of people out there were not happy with that selection because we just got done paying our franchise quarterback $128 million. Well, now we fast forward, all right? And we watch what happened on the football field. We watch what happened behind closed doors. We watch the reports, and that quarterback is no longer here, all right? So now it is time to move on from that quarterback. And when you draft a guy in the second round, that's usually to replace the guy that was in front of him. That's usually how that works. That's how that's working with Dallas Goedert. That's how it works. Okay? That's how it works. So competition in terms of like a camp arm and it got to be a good backup. Sure. Yeah, of course. Bring in a good backup. Fine. But to compete for the starting job, are you fucking high? Are we okay? No. Nobody's coming in to compete for this job. You drafted him in the second round. So now me, as a fan, I'm going to rally around Jalen Hurts. You understand this? I'm going to hope and pray that he can play. I have no problem saying I'm wrong, all right? Especially when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. And if it's winning, I have no problem saying I'm wrong, okay? So this year comes down to it's Jalen Hurts' job. All right, and we find out some things, okay? That's what this year's for. Because if you do stink again, who gives a rat's ass? Because you can go back up in the draft next year and go get your quarterback then anyway. Could you be expecting to draft in the top 5 if you stink and he can't play? So no competition for him. What the hell are we doing? We just traded away and got caught with our pants down, trading away Carson, okay? Now and got bullshit back. Now you're going to tell me that the guy who you drafted in the second round to replace him isn't the starter? You're going to bring in somebody to compete for that job? What the hell's going on? To draft somebody at 6 at the quarterback position? What is going on? No, you're not allowed to. You're not freaking allowed to. Because if you were thinking that way, you should have never drafted this guy then. So what the hell is going on? All right, so no, Jalen Hurts it's his job. It's his job going into 2021. It's nobody else's. It shouldn't be anybody else's. And I'm hoping they're just playing coy with people, saying that they're interested in a quarterback at 6, then maybe trade back a little bit. Maybe that's their thought process. Hopefully, they're smart enough to think like that, because this is unacceptable. You don't go draft the guy in the goddamn second round and then trade your franchise guy, and then that guy's not going to become what you think your franchise guy is? What? What is going on? You're going to go back up and draft another one? No. Hell no. That's not how this works. I don't care who you love in the draft at the quarterback position. Unless it's Trevor Lawrence, shut the fuck up. Okay? No. Hey, Trey Lance, knock it off. Knock it off. All right? And if they do, there's going to be a lot of people unhappy. And not because we're team Jalen Hurts, because we're team Eagles and we're team common sense. And if you're team common sense, then guess how you feel about this poll question. You disagree. You disagree to it. Because that's not how this works. It's not how it works. Then you should have never drafted him if you don't think he's good enough to be able to play 16 games. What the fuck is going on? That's not how this works, or any of it. Any of it. And if people are going to let him off the hook, people are actually going to sit around here and talk about Justin Fields and talk about different quarterbacks. What the frig are you talking about? No, that's not allowed either. All right, no, this is who you tied your cart to. It's the horse you tied it to. Okay, so now you got to see if it can run a little bit. Now you got to see. You don't get off the hook. All right? This is Jalen Hurts' job. And I'm going to rally around Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz is no longer here, so take the ex-girlfriend shit and go to bed. And people that wish him luck, kiss my ass. I don't wish him any luck. He's no longer an Eagle. All right, that's how that works. All right, I'm not Team Carson. All right, and I love Carson. I'll defend him every day when he wore green. He ain't wear green no more. Bye, girl. That's how this works. And I don't have to be, and I'm not happy about that he's gone. All right, but you move the hell on. You move on. And this organization moved on. All right, even though they got bent over and got banged in the ass by a Colt, okay, they moved on. All right, now you're going to tell me the guy you're moving on to isn't good enough, and then you're going to bring competition for him? Shut up. You should lose your job by making that statement, right? If I'm anybody in the building, I'm saying, I'm looking, and I'm like, what? Like, if I'm guys around, if I'm Nick Sirianni, I'm like, what the F did I get into? I thought this was their guy. I thought Jalen Hurts was this guy. They had me sit on a podium and talk about Carson Wentz and goddamn Jalen Hurts, and neither one of your guys. What is going on here? I would need a way out. I'm looking for an escape plan. Right now, you know why Doug Peterson wanted out. This is a fucking shit show. All right? Shit show. The only quarterback that could be coming in here is a veteran backup, okay? And I don't care who it is. Just a veteran backup. That is it. That is it. Grow up. Grow up quarterback competition. Knock off the factory. The factory's been shut down because you took a $32 million dead cap, which shut your factory the fuck down. All right? That's what happens in business. You're taking a $32 million hit. That guess what happened to your factory? It's shut. It's shut down. So everybody shut up. Don't tell me about great quarterback. We can bring this guy in. He can compete. He can start. No. It's Jalen Hurts' job. And if he stinks, then we go draft the quarterback next year. All right? Simple. And if he's good, I'll eat crow, and I'll love it. I'll eat as much crow as you motherfuckers want me to eat. I'll chew it up. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the people because I hope he can play. All right? I don't trust him in being my franchise guy. All right? But guess what? I'm rallying around them. Giddy up and go. Giddy up and go. Howie Roseman kissed my ass. Bring it in on a quarterback competition. Shut up. Disagree to the poll. What do you say, Rye? Family, what do you say out there?
Before I even answer that question, has it even been a week, Tom, since Carson was traded? Like, it hasn't even been a week, right?
No, not yet.
So within under a week, we already are moving on from the guy who we moved on from the other guy for. You know what I'm saying? Like, we moved on from Carson for Jalen. And now the narrative's, now we're moving on from Jalen. Hasn't even been a freaking week yet. Can we go a full week? We can't. Forget off season. Forget season. Forget year. We can't even go a full week.
No team in the history of pro sports or fan base loves the other guy more than this organization and this fan base. In the history of professional sports, there's never been an organization or fan base that loves the next guy who may not even been drafted yet more than the guy.
He's not even on the team. It's ridiculous. Like, it'd be one thing of like, the guy's waiting in the wings, right? half the fan base is clamoring for a guy who's not even in the NFL yet, or not even on the team yet. Like Trey Lance. That's how bad it's gotten. Last Thursday, I spent an hour of my day. An hour. That's a lot of freaking time. Watching Trey Lance highlights. Be like, there's a report out there. I better figure out who the hell this guy is. Really? Enough. Listen, we talked about competition, and competition breeds success and all that BS, all that coach speak. We talked about that.
Oh, because I'm going to miss this. What am I? I complained that we traded Carson Wentz because it was a bad deal. Okay? That's what I complained about, Eagles champ. All right? Now I'm switching up. What am I switching up about? Carson Wentz isn't here anymore. All right? I don't do the ex-girlfriend shit. Bye. Okay? I'm not going to keep talking about it. All right? The guy who is here is Jalen Hurts. So as an Eagles fan, guess who I'm going to rally around, Eagles champ? As a pure, real fucking Eagles fan, which a lot of people could take notes on out there, I'm going to rally around Jalen Hurts. Thank you.
No, it's true. It's true.
Switch up. It's common sense. That's how it works here.
Yeah, and I don't know. Sorry, Eagles champ. We appreciate the comment, but I don't know what you're missing. You look at the situation, right? And you say, okay, can we have one off season where we're not obsessed over the quarterback position? I understand it that the quarterback position is the most important position, not only in football, but in all of sports. But can we at least say, okay, we have limited expectations for next season? Tom and I, and all of us here on A2D, and a lot of the Eagles fans, at least the Eagles fans that know what they're talking about, said, hey, you know the best thing for this organization? Keep both of them and have a competition, right? Now you get rid of one of them, and now they're starting to talk about the competition. You just let the competition leave the organization. You let them walk out the door. The $128 million competition went out the door, and I don't even care if that means, hey, we think he's going to be Jalen Hurts, or hey, we think Jalen Hurts is better. You just let that competition leave while we're still paying him to play for another team, basically. So now you're going to say, hey, we're going to draft somebody? Or we're going to invest some of our limited assets because we have very limited aspects, especially when you talk about money because of this freaking cap situation. We're going to talk about bringing in another guy? No.
And especially at 6 this year.
Yes.
So we're going to use that pick for a franchise quarterback again this year. So it's another asset. So if you talk about 2017 on, right? Or 2016 on. 2016, you used the first round pick in a quarterback, right? 2017, you didn't have a first round pick, okay? 2018, 2019, 2020, fine. Now you're going quarterback again. Sorry, 2020, you drafted a quarterback in the second round, all right? So now in 2021, you're going to go to the quarterback again? So that's 3 quarterbacks selected in either the first or second round. And how many fucking years is that? 7?
It's a bad trend. It's a bad trend.
That's no good. 6 years. That's 6 years of you drafting a quarterback in the first or second round. 3 out of 6 years. 3 out of 6 years. Whoa. That doesn't fly. You can't do it again. You did it twice.
Nope. It's at the end of the day, you look at it, okay? To this poll question, am I fine with competition? Am I fine with them bringing a solid backup? Sure. But what are we expecting next year anyway? We're going to figure out a lot of answers, right? Talk about this coach, the GM, the roster, the young players, etc. Can we just have one season where we figure out who Jalen Hurts is when there's no other damn controversy? Nothing.
How about this, right? How about we do the opposite of what we did for Carson Wentz? How about we actually try to go put weapons around the guy? How about we try to go build a team around the guy's skill set? How about we try to go do that game, right? Which would then be at 6, drafting the best player available, right? Instead of using an extra $3.5 million on a better backup, you just bring back Nate and let him be the goddamn backup and say, who gives a shit if Hurts goes down, because you're just going to stink and then you can go get a quarterback again. All right. So then you do it like that and you try to surround him and spend the extra $3.5 million maybe on maybe somebody on the defense end, maybe another corner, a backup safety. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying though? So you start saying, you know what? Maybe we tried to build a football team around our quarterback instead of doing what we've done for the last X amount of years, which is about 3, where we've done the complete opposite. Listen, wherever you're listening in at, even if you don't like us, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I see there's a shit ton of people over on YouTube right now. And listen, if you agree with it or disagree, if you disagree with the poll that you shouldn't be bringing in a quarterback to compete with Jalen Hurts, hit that like button right now. and subscribe, because I think any true Eagles fan that has a pulse and a feel would absolutely disagree with this poll question. Like, I don't think it's even up for debate. Like, not even up for debate. There's competition, and then there's being a lunatic, right? There's competition, and there's being a fucking straight up lunatic.
You know the new narrative that's going around, Tom, the last week?
Oh, I don't even want to know. I'm narrative out. Go ahead.
This is how bad it's got. It's that, and it's not just one guy. It's not just a group of people. Like, like people were talking about this in articles. Okay, I'm not saying they're smart because we've played that game before, but it's like now people were trying to make the argument that there should be a guy taken at 6 or 9 or 15 or wherever the hell we pick in the first round, right? Because if you look at the projection of future drafts, it's going to be a handful of years. It's going to be until Archie friggin' Manning, until there's another good quarterback coming in the draft. What? First off, how the hell does anyone know that? Second of all, there's always a day for all those people who think, okay, this is the last chance to get a quarterback for the next 6 years. First off, I don't know where that narrative started. I don't know who it started with, but that's completely idiotic.
Why? They're really out there trying to tell people there's not a good quarterback outside of this draft for another like 6 years.
Yes, they're saying like Trey Lance or Archie Manning. Like, that's it. Like, there's nobody else, which I think
Joe Burrow came out of nowhere. And LSU, don't tell me this
half
shit.
the country didn't even know who Patrick Mahomes was on draft night. How many times, because we were at the drafters in Philadelphia, it was a great time. Philly Jesus, we met him. It was great. How many times when we were doing our videos, Tom?
Need to meet him again.
Oh, yeah, no, we need him. He might need to be the backup quarterback, to be honest, or the GM. Either way, anything's better than what we got. How many times when we were walking around draft night in Philly did people say, who the Chiefs take? Like, people at the draft, like football fans, they're like, who? Who they took who over to Deshaun Watson? That was Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even saying we need to get a Patrick Mahomes. I would love it. But the point is, there's always somebody who rises to the top. Nobody in the country knew who Carson Wentz and Jared Goff was a year before they were drafted. Fam, I understand. It's like, oh, well, you know, you look at big-time prospects. There's only one big-time prospect in this draft, and his name is Trevor Lawrence. Okay? If this draft doesn't get me him, I'm not playing the game. And I'm not saying Fields isn't any good. I'm not saying Trey Lance, Zach Wilson. I'm not saying that. But when you look at the needs of this organization, I swear to God, did this organization and half this fan base realize we have an entire defensive front and unit to completely rebuild? Like, it doesn't matter who the damn quarterback is if you're giving up 40 points a game.
No, that's why I think they're trying to smoke screen it and tell people they're interested in a quarterback at 6 so they can compile more picks. I truly believe that's what they're trying to do, because he's a pick junkie. So like that Denver situation, maybe, or some other situations, maybe even outside the top 10. You know, they might move themselves outside the top 10, which would require getting back a lot of picks, right?
I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, which is going to upset a lot of people, and I understand it. But they're at the point now, guys, where like I stay at 6 because I just know I can get a stud, right? But they're at the point now where they're in financial hell, and they better rebuild quick, that they need 1 million fucking picks to do it, because that's the only way they can get young talent on this roster. But maybe they don't. Maybe it's something they're absolutely considering too, which would be outlandish, which would be totally outlandish. Now, and I'm not Mr. Jalen Hurts. I'm hoping he can play. Jacob, it's not even healed yet. I'm getting there. Wednesday could be healed. But like outside of Lawrence, then you're reaching, and you're not playing best available. So it's just, there's too many like things that can go wrong there. And then if that's a miss, now you're even set back even further. Like you need to, there is such a pressure cooker right now that they need to hit, and they need to hit at 6 or wherever the hell they're picking at. They need to hit. Listen, there's 80 some people watch on YouTube, only 31 likes. Let's fucking go over there. All right, let's go.
You know what it is, Tom? I think the perfect phrase for this, and I'm not even just talking about this fan base. This fan base needs a little bit of this, but especially this organization. Self-control. It's about, hey, if their guy, quote unquote, if it's Lance or Fields or Zach Wilson or whoever now Tannenbaum, I know you're a big fan of him, Tom, from your rant last week. You see his new rant. It's that he believes that the lowest as far as draft night, Mac Jones is going to go as 8, to where that's as far as he's going to fall. Somebody's going to take him in the top 7 picks.
Would we do that?
Well, that's my fear. It's like, did he talk to a team and be like, oh, if he's there, we're taking him? And now I'm thinking like, oh my God, that would be the Eagles. Like, oh my God, taking Mac Jones with the 6th. But either way, whoever their guy is, if they fall to them, say it's Trey Lance, is there, Fields is there at 6. Do they have the self-control to realize, hey, we really like this quarterback, but we have 90 other positions we would rather use, and we also just addressed that position at 52 last year? I don't believe they have that self-control because they've done nothing but show me that they don't possess self-control, especially when you talk about the ownership group and the GM. But if they have a little bit of self-control on draft night, I believe we won't take a quarterback. But I could also see them doing what they've done numerous times in free agency, draft, trades, etc., etc. They get cute, and they'll be like, oh my God, this guy was a top 3 talent in the draft, and they fell to us at 6. We can't do it. We just can't pass on him. And then we're in this mess again. I'm completely fine with them, and I'm going to pull up the list in a few minutes for the fam. We're going to do like a yes, no type thing. But like, if they want to go out and get a veteran quarterback to have kind of, a quote-unquote competition and get his competitive juices flowing. I don't know why he would need his competitive juices flowing anyway, because he's already started quarterback. But whatever. If they want to bring in a veteran, cool, fine. You should have did that last year when you actually had a franchise quarterback who was getting paid $128 million. If they want to do that, cool. But this is Jalen Hurts' football team. Doesn't mean we have to like it, but it's the situation we're in. Okay? And in a year where I have limited expectations, we all do, let's just go into this year saying, okay, we know who the quarterback's going to be. Let's figure out what he can do when you have a full offseason with an offense catered to him. And let's just figure it out. If he's great, cool. If he's okay, fine. And if he sucks, there's always going to be a quarterback available every single year.
And what happens if he can play?
Great.
Awesome. Like I don't know. If you build a team around him, I'm sure he's not going to hurt you. You know what I mean? A guy won a lot of games in college when he had players around him. So I mean, I'm sure he won't kill you. I'm not saying he's going to do some of the things Carson was able to do that would wow you as much. But I mean, can there be big plays available? Absolutely. Like when you can break down and make and extend plays, I say this a million times. When you can extend plays at the quarterback position, you can be dangerous, right? You can be dangerous. It's just the way it goes. So how about we go and start building a team around him and go get an influx of young talent this year and try to bring in, you're talking about 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. So they should be 4 fucking starters in the first 3 rounds this year. All right. So that should be an influx of young talent. All the young talent you drafted last year at the wide receiver position that you guys drafted. All right. They, hopefully they take a step forward, right? Your young running back. So, I mean, this team, as much as I think, okay, this team should probably win 4 or 6 games, it's the NFL. So I don't know. Like if you go hit on some of these young players and they can play, right? Like Jeremy Chin showed he can play. Winfield showed he can play. Like there's guys who come in the league and can just flat out play. And just, you know what I mean? So there's guys who come in and if they can flat out play, then this team could be a playoff team. You just never know. You don't know. I don't think they'll be, but you know what I mean? I don't know. I gotta wait and see. But like you go hit on some picks, you bring in like the right low-level free agents, like low-level stuff that just works for what you're trying to do. You're already gonna have some veterans here that can play. So you know what I mean? You're not gonna be able to get rid of everybody this year. So I mean, who the hell knows? So yeah, I mean, why not give it a run with Jalen for a year? The things he can do well are the things that, hey, maybe it can keep you in games. Maybe the fact that he can extend plays and make up for maybe not the greatest O-line if it's not perfect next year, right? Maybe he can make up and we can have some explosive plays and we'll be able to run the ball better than we did last year, right? And sustain clock better. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but you can't go quarterback. And I have no problem bringing in a good veteran, but not to compete with a starting job. And I think anybody that wants somebody to compete with him this year then becomes a Jalen hater, right? Anybody with a sense on how, like, this game should work is no, you drafted him to replace Wentz at some point. Now you want to spin the narrative. Well, It wasn't necessarily to replace Wentz. Well, then what was it for? Like, what would it be for? It's to replace Carson Wentz at some point, right? Maybe not this quickly, but guess what? You're here. So now, I'm sorry if you don't want to see your investment get exposed, but he needs to play every goddamn freaking snap in 2021, and there's no debate about it. I don't care if he throws 21 interceptions through the first 4 weeks of the season. He needs to play every goddamn snap of 2021 so we all can find out what guy do we have. And if that's a guy who can play and a guy who develops and gets better, then guess what? Then we're in a great spot. And if it's not, then we go back to the well next year. We draft another one. All right. And we got to go back to the QB well and we draft the goddamn another one. That's how it works. That's the only way we're going to find out and get a direction of this football team. But if they fucking take a quarterback, even in the first 7 rounds of this draft, 7 rounds, I don't care if there's like an unconditional later on, like a 20th rounder, never happened before. Eagles are going to take a quarterback. Like somebody needs to smack him and punch him square in the mouth.
I don't disagree with any of it. They're definitely taking a quarterback in the draft at some point. They're definitely because coming out of what the 2018 year,
You have so many holes.
I agree. Listen, I'm not doing it. I'm not like everyone's saying like, Kyle Trask in the third. I don't give a damn how good he is. I'm not doing it. But the reason why I think they're going to do it, even when we had somewhat of an identity in this organization, and when you talk about the roster, they were the same team that took Clayton friggin' Thorson in the fifth.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're going to do it then.
They always enjoy taking one. It's just you're in such bad shape right now, like throughout your whole roster, that they weren't back then, that like you almost can't get away with it. You almost can't. Now, if you took one in the 6th round, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, whatever. But in the first like 4 rounds, like you better not. You better fucking not. Round 5, like I don't think you're getting a starter around 5 anyway. But no, you just better go draft another freaking receiver again for the 50th time. Like I don't know. Go draft a corner. Whatever. Stay away. There's certain positions they're not allowed to go to this year early on. Wide receiver is one of them. They're not allowed. They have 4 young wide receivers on this roster. You got to see if they can play. Mm-hmm. All right. You got Hightower, you got Reagor, you got Watkins, you got Fulgham, and you got Umbrella Boy. You have 5 wide receivers. So
That's a lot of assets. That's a lot of assets put into those 5 positions. That's a lot of assets. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out.
Outside of Fulgham, they're all draft picks.
Yes.
So we're gonna go there again? No. So now guess where you got to go? Hey, maybe some linebackers. Maybe another running back. Right? Maybe I mean, there's other things. There's other.
How about a corner for one?
Corner, safety, whatever. Like there's other things that you cannot go to early on in this draft. I don't care. I love Mr. Smith. All right, I'll take him 1,000,000 times. All right, but I'm not taking him. I'll take Pitts, and I'm not like, and I'd rather take Surtain. But like that's where I'm at because of like it just goes back to the quarterback thing again. Like you be talking about if you drafted a quarterback in the 1st round, 3 out of 6 years. You've drafted a quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round. If you drafted one again this year, is that a good organization, family? Is that somebody you want to trust? I wouldn't even trust that dude watching my kid. I won't trust that dude watching my kid. Better, you know what I mean? Better yet, run a whole organization. And all he's got to do is just put a bottle in his mouth. Like I wouldn't even trust that. Like you know what I mean? Like you can't handle that. That's too much for you to handle. You know what I mean? Because this guy's inept of anything outside of like one thing. And now it's the cap, and now he's not even good at that.
I'm honestly, and Donovan, thank you for the tips. I appreciate it,
brother.
You look at it, and he's absolutely right. They have on the roster right now. You got Reagor, you've got Arcega-Whiteside. They're not letting go of either one of them. Maybe Arcega-Whiteside in camp if he's a disaster, but they have no reason to. They got to figure out who the hell he is. You've got Watkins, you've got Ward, who's still under control. You've got Fulgham, and coming out, 2 days ago, according to Goodwin on his Instagram, they're going to restructure him. So you've got all those guys.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people. So everyone's saying, you got to go wide receiver in the 1st. I think Jamar Chase is a really good player. I love Devontae Smith. I do. But the Eagles are showing you that they're valuing other positions. And honestly, I think when it came down to it, If they were stuck between taking a quarterback at 6 and wide receiver, they're taking the quarterback. And I'm not saying that's a good move, but that's just the way it is. And there's so many things that you go into the next season, you say, to your point, Tom, like, I want to figure out who Jalen Hurts is just because, like, am I expecting them to be in the conversation to win the division? Absolutely not. But you never know. If the offensive line stays healthy, if the defensive line gets the quarterback again, if you hit on some picks on the defensive side, if Miles Sanders plays well, a couple guys on the outside wide receivers, if they develop and Jalen Hurts plays well, you can be in the conversation. You just never know.
Football league, man. If you can get high level QB play, and he can make plays, and young talent starts to develop and get better. And no, Robert, because Pitts can go inside, outside. So it's almost like getting the best of both worlds. That's the only reason.
He's just a weapon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you've said this before, Tom. Like, he's technically a tight end, but we don't even look at him like a tight end. We're like, okay, because he can do so many different things. That's the biggest thing. Thank you, Jared.
I'm still taking Sertain, and I'm going to bed, and I'm turning off the lights, and it's over with, because I'm going to go value something. I say it a million times, like, everybody wants to fight fire with fire, and no, I'm going to throw some water on it. And water is going to get another corner. And if I can have 2 shutdown corners, I can start to play with some of the things I'm going to be seeing, which is a bunch of air outs and a bunch of great wide receivers and a bunch of explosive offenses. I got to be able to match that. And how I match it is by having a damn good secondary. Now, you really match it with having a good front, which you still essentially are going to have this year. Like, you're going to – Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, and Javon Hargrave are all going to be on this football team. So you already had the makings of a pretty good front. So you're going to be all right there. So now it's like, hey, can we get some guys who can take the football away? Can we get some guys who are shut down guys? And that's the direction I'm going.
Gordy, no, you're not wrong, Gordy. Says, I'm sorry, fellas. If Washington football team gets Deshaun Watson, somehow they will win. No, not somehow. They'll own the division for the next 3 years, at least. It's not even a conversation. But you look at it, Tom, and you say, okay, I like the front, to your point. You would still have Graham, you would have Fletcher, you'd have Hargrave, and then I guess Sweat, as of right now, would kind of go into that role if you don't bring back Barnett. But we've talked about this so many times, if you go Surtain in the first and you have those two, Surtain and Slay in the back end, that provides confidence and identity in the secondary. And what was Jim Schwartz big? I know Jim's not here anymore, but what was his big excuse for why he didn't play aggressive when you talked about the line or playing press or blitzing enough? It's because he didn't have confidence in the secondary. Well, if you have confidence in the secondary, that's going to allow the D-line to do what they do best, and that's sell out and go, dead on at the quarterback. You could smother a team that way. We really haven't seen them be able to do that a lot because of the defensive coordinator and because of all of the question marks in the secondary. Listen, I know the cornerback position, you can say, oh, you have Slay. Why would we draft a second cornerback to play the number 2 role in the first round of the draft? Because identity. You haven't had identity in that secondary, and I don't even know how long, other than the fact that you just have a bunch of stuff.
No, you haven't had identity in that secondary since Lito and Sheldon. And they used assets to get Lito and Sheldon. And people questioned it at the time because they had Troy and Bobby here. And it ended up being great picks. Like, you have to value some of these things. You have to value the linebacker position a little bit, right? You want to revamp your defense? Start valuing positions that you just watch at the highest level, right? You just witnessed a great linebacking core. What they could do, a front 4 that could get after you, right? Just an overall damn good defense, and that's what the Bucs had. So value it. If that's Parsons at 6, and go ahead, like, start valuing positions that are important to rebuild a defense. You've already put so many assets into the offense side of this football team that you can't go early there. To me, like, I mean, I wouldn't even be hard pressed if you went linebacker, and then to people saying, like, not Farley, but Horn. Like, you went Horn in the second round, or you went Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round. If you went somewhere like that, like, I'm not saying you're forced to go defense or offense, you know what I mean? But you sort of are because of how many assets you've used offensively. That you have not used anything outside of Kevon Wallace and Davion Taylor, which we don't even know if either one can play. You have to use your first round pick. You have to go defense.
We have no young core. How many years have we said, oh, what's the top 3 young core players on the defense? And we would talk about Sidney Jones and Barnett and all these. Well, they're not here. Barnett maybe, but I'm not so sure who he is. Like, he's good.
Right, think about this, right? Where's Sertain come from? A winning school, a winning organization per se. Like, you want to create identity. You want to create identity with winners. Like, go start that trend off with a young guy who's going to come in extremely confident in his goddamn abilities. And his abilities are going to be able to play from day one here. When you talk about Farley, you talk about Horn, right? You talk about Asante Samuel Jr., you're talking about some question marks with them guys. I have no question marks with Patrick Surtain Jr. None. Like he is what he is. And what he is a lockdown corner already. Now, I'm not saying I'm against any of them other guys. Like, listen, if you went the first 2 rounds, if you went corner, I wouldn't be mad at nobody. I mean, that's how bad of a situation you're in back there. And I don't want to hear about Darius. I like Darius. Okay. But what's he got? 2-year shelf life here? So, at some point you got to address it. So if it's cornerback heavy draft where there's a lot of damn good corners, then guess what? Then you're in a great spot. Then go draft 2 of them. You guys can tell me I'm crazy, but we won a lot of football games with Lito and Sheldon because we addressed it. We addressed it finally. All right? So you guys all sit home being mad if our 2 picks were Surtain and Asante Samuel Jr., 2 pedigree talks, and then you have 2 third-round picks. Now be my guest, go wherever you want to go. You want to go running back there? You want to go, you know what I mean? You want to go defensive line there? You want to go linebacker? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you want to go with them 2 picks, go. But the first 2 picks, don't be shy. If they're the 2 best, like if that's the best players on the board, go ahead. Go take 2 corners and go to bed. And now play 1 in the slot this year. So play, I know it would be tough for Asante Samuel Jr., but put him in the slot for a year. Or you run, I don't know, then you run more dime packages, 4 corner sets and stuff. So, there's ways to do it.
How many times have we talked about this defense and we say, okay, like the last 2 years, what hasn't this defense really done well, Tom? As opposed to what we did in 2017 a lot.
They didn't take the football away at all. I don't think they take the football away since 2017.
I agree with you. Last
time this football team took the football away was 2017. If you're listening in, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's go. Everybody on YouTube, over 100 people watching on YouTube. All right. 107, only 48 likes. Right. I haven't seen the subscribes go up 100. Let's go in there. All right. Pound the subscribe. If you're a true Eagles fan, pound that like. If you love us and if you hate us, then hit the dislike. Who gives a rat's ass? We'll troll you. You think you can get away with it?
Another big thing the defense needs, or this entire team needs, but really the defense when you talk about rebuild, because it's a full rebuild on defense, okay? The offense, okay, there's some things we can rely on. There's some big-time question marks, okay. But we can at least say we have somewhat of an identity of what we need from the offense. Defense, we need a lot of what? Young players with cheap contracts with years of control. That's why I'm not opposed to saying, okay, as much as I would love to get a star at 6, trade back to 9, trade back to 12, 15, whatever, because we need volume. And I know what people are going to say, the same thing they say every week. Oh, well, Ryan, well, do you trust Howie to make the picks if he gets a lot of picks? No, I don't trust him at all. But at least you have a ton of picks that at least you have a better chance of hitting. You know what I'm saying? I need volume. Like we were talking about a couple weeks ago. A perfect scenario would be
first-round picks next year if things go as planned. So we already have some volume built the following year. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about how this nerd thinks about it, right?
Oh yeah, saving $44 million. Oh, they're gonna crown themselves on that next time.
They're gonna be heavy buyers in free agency next year. Yep. All right, they're gonna be heavy, and this year's just a total rebuild, which could make them stay at 6. Now, cap wise might be the reason that they move out of 6 and end up somewhere where you just said around 15, because I don't know what the money difference is, but I guarantee it's at least $5 million. It's got to be. And if somebody knows that off the top of their head, let me know. Because if you really want to know why I can see them getting out of 6 is because of that goddamn reason. Money.
Could be.
They're in trouble this year. They're in trouble.
Yeah, well, it's gotten so bad. I know John was asking us earlier, and we'll touch on this in a few, like our opinions of Jason Kelce. And he said, well, if they got rid of Jason Kelce, he said that he would change his outlook of the first pick. John, if you're still with us, are you talking about Sewell then? Like if they got rid of Kelce, are you saying, oh my God, they got to go Sewell? Because I don't know if Sewell's a tackle. I know he can be like a swing guard, but I don't know if he's a center. So if you're still with us, John, let us know. But with this quarterback thing real quick, we'll get this done and over with. And fam at home, we want you to chime in with this as well. A little yes, no, yes, no.
Well, I see a lot of people real quick, right? I see some people saying they'll move back. Like Johnson, I'm moving back.
Yeah.
Somebody else said move back to 9.
It's perfect.
Other people saying we're not moving. Like Colin saying we're not moving. I don't know what to think, right? Like I want to stay at 6 because I want to get the best player, right? And I don't feel like I'm going to get that outside of 6. So that scares me. But I also know money-wise, because of the situation they're in, they might need to save every dollar they can, or because he's such a fucking nerd that he's just going to want more and more picks. And if he figures, I can get another second rounder, or I can get, I can get another third, so I can have 3 thirds. Whoop-de-doo.
If Howie knows, and Colin, are you a Broncos guy, Colin? Let me know. If you said if you guys aren't moving up to 6, but fam at home, I would do this, but we know Howie would. If he knows going in the draft night, he can go from having 6 and 40 to 6 and 37 to having 9, 37 and 40. He would do that. And then adding, let's say, a 3rd round pick that you got for Zach Ertz, the 3rd that you got for Wentz. Now you're looking at having 6, 7 picks in the first 3 rounds. Howie Roseman is running up the aisles of NovaCare in excitement. He's probably going to miss on half of them or all of them.
Allowed to miss on half. If he got 3 Pro Bowlers out of that 6, then guess what? That's a volume. That's volume.
Yes.
Right? And he needs anyway. He needs to figure out how to get it. He needs to walk out of this with some Pro Bowlers immediately, with some studs. And if that's doing that or doing what Bill's saying with Carolina to get 39 and 73, and now you got a 2nd and a 3rd, right? Then that's a possibility. Or the Patriots for even more, right? So they have options to maybe walk out of this and have obviously a 1st still, right? 2 seconds and 3 thirds, right?
So with Bills, so I'm thinking here, so you would have 8, 39, 30 or 37, 39. I think we have 71 and then 73. So we would have 5 before the 73rd pick. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm absolutely cool with that. What's up, Don? Yeah, every Monday, brother. We took a week off last week, but no. We're here for you. Let's see. Dre says, so how long do we wait to see if Jalen Hurts is the guy? I don't want to be like a wait and see because we didn't give Hurts weapons. No, you're giving him this season. That's why I said, no more of this quarterback controversy. Give him a full season. Give him a full off season with an offense catered to him. Because I know that was the other storyline. Oh, well, we didn't see full Jalen Hurts because he was with the Carson Wentz offense. If you can play, you can play. Okay? I understand, you're going to have different plays and all that sort of stuff. So for all those people who truly believe, that's why Jalen Hurts wasn't a superstar in those 4 games, okay. So then you have, offensive, the entire offseason you're going to have catered to Jalen Hurts. And if he's great, awesome. It's one less conversation we need to have. And if he's not any good, then you address it from there. But you give him that full season. I have zero problem with that. But when you talk about the quarterback position, everyone's saying, okay, you got to get a veteran, not a draft kid. I'm going to go down the list of all the free agents. Realistic, I'm not going to do the friggin' Joe Webbs. If anyone says yes to Joe Webb, just stop. The notable names in free agency that you can either bring in as a competition or a good investment for the backup. Okay. Tom, I'll list them to you. Just give me a yes, no, and then fam chime in on it as well. The first one, I know Wills and we were talking about it on the show when we did our emergency show after the Wentz deal. Jacoby Brissett. Would you bring in Jacoby Brissett as a backup for the Eagles? He's an unrestricted free agent, and obviously he has a lot of familiarity with Mr. Sirianni.
Yeah, because I don't think he's threatening the job.
I agree.
No, I'm not bringing anybody that they think threatening for the job. So if they can bring him in and he knows he's the backup, then fine.
Here's an
backup is.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No, just because of this fan base, but I would.
I would, but you're right. It would be Nick Foles 2.0. I mean, because if you look at one guy who's more universally loved than Nick Foles, it's Fitzpatrick. But I would, just based off of him as a talent, but I'm just going to say no, just because they would be a mess because some of these fans. This one makes a lot of sense. I would say other than Trubisky, not Trubisky, Brissett. Other than Brissett, I think this makes the most sense. Tyrod Taylor.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. You're not going to get big. You're not going to get big stuff from me because I don't give a fucking rat's ass about the backup quarterback.
No, you're good.
No, like, don't anybody out there. Don't expect me to be like, yeah, like, nope. I don't care about backups. All right, I want to see if this guy can play. So I don't care. I never want to hear this guy's name. Period. But yes, I'll take Tyrod Taylor. That's fine.
That's a popular name in the chat. Everyone's like, yes. I don't know why we're like excited about Tyrod, but sure. Mitchell. Trubisky?
Like, whatever. Maybe they want to bring him in.
Andy Dalton.
I mean, sure. He wants to start somewhere, though, I think.
Andy?
Probably.
What team is he starting on? Not directed at you, but like directed at him. Like, what team is he starting on?
So these idiots think.
Okay. I feel like I'll get a reaction out of you with this. Joe Flacco?
Yeah, why not?
I'm surprised to hear that.
I don't expect him to play ever.
Okay.
Keep on this narrative that, like, whoever it is, it doesn't matter to me because I don't expect them to do anything but a clipboard. So, at this point, I'm looking for a good veteran that can help develop my quarterback that I do have. So, like, yes, Tyrod, Flacco. No, that's like then I'm going to go like no to Trubisky, right? Because he can't even develop himself. What was the other names you gave me?
Andy Dalton.
Yeah, yes, I would do it for Andy. If
Fitzpatrick, Brissett.
Yes and yes. I mean, just because like for Fitzpatrick, because I know how these people will get, but like in terms of for a younger guy, yes.
The last name I'll give you, and then I'll ask you to rank like the most realistic type things. Cam Newton.
I don't think it's realistic at all, but I'll take Cam.
I would take him, but I think this fan base would also be irresponsible, even though he sucked last year. I think it would be kind of not annoying to have somebody as high profile as him on the bench, but I think some fans would get reckless. You know what I'm saying?
You can, or you're going to ruin this kid too.
Yeah. So of those names, who do you think is the most, not of who you would do, but who do you think is the most realistic name that you could see the Eagles signing?
Tyrod. Because it's really, because I think it's really cheap. 120 people watched on YouTube, 66 likes. Let's go. Let's go over there. Pound that like button, pound that subscribe. Pound it. I think that's realistic. I think Flacco would be a realistic name. I mean, he lives around it. He lives here.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, it would be smart. He stayed in New York, Baltimore, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it keeps him in this area, and they probably only got to pay him like $1 and a half. They don't got to pay him much, $2 million to be a backup. You know what I mean? They don't got to pay him much anything.
I'm not sure. I mean, he's going to be available because he's an unrestricted free agent, but I'm not so sure he won't just get re-signed as soon as the league year is open. If he's available, I think Jacoby Brissett is the most realistic name just because of familiarity.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's realistic. I'm giving you the outside the Colts box thinking.
Okay.
Right? Like that's the easy name, right? Because of the relationship, and Tyrod's been linked, so that's another name. But Flacco hasn't been linked, and I think it's a name that you could link if he's going to play football again. You know what I mean? Like, if he's playing football again and planning on it and wants to be a backup again, I know he's got a lot of kids, so I would assume he's why not again?
Jerry makes a good point. They tried getting him last year. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I know Joe, and I'm not, and Joe's not a rah-rah like rah-rah leader type guy, but I can't see him hurting Jalen Hurts at all. Now, he didn't do anything for Darnold, but I blame a lot of that on Adam Gase too and everything. But, like, give him time. Like, I want that veteran presence who's won. Like, he's won. Like, Jacoby Brissett hasn't won shit. Like, Flacco's got a Super Bowl and had one of the best playoff runs ever. Like, that's why if there wasn't a Nick Foles thing here, Nick would be like a perfect backup because he's just a good dude. Joe's a good dude. Like, I break Joe's balls all the time, but Joe's a good guy, and he's not gonna like try to go after the guy's job or stab him in the back. You know what I mean? So you're getting a good locker room guy in the house who lives in Haddonfield. So why, it would make a lot more sense for him to, get $1 million less here than having to go get a place in another city for X amount of months. You know what I mean? So factor that in.
Now, do you guys, and obviously you too, Tom, do you see the Eagles trying to think to themselves, hey, we want to get a guy who's kind of similar to Hurts? Because Flacco's obviously not it's completely different as far as the style. That's why I think a lot of people were talking about.
That's wrong for thinking in my eyes.
I agree, because then you're just overthinking a position that you hopefully never have to even see play.
No, it's that he's going to be one guy and that's all he's going to be able to be. No, like, what do I have to develop him at? I got to get him to get to his read better, right? Yeah. Inside the pocket. So to me, I bring in a guy like a Flacco, like a Dalton. Like, even when Joe was younger, Joe moved. Like Joe wasn't fast, but he could use his legs enough outside the pocket and make throws. Like, not like some of these guys today, but like enough, right? But Dalton could always use his legs enough. So no, I wanted somebody that can come in and teach a guy how to go through his reads better than the other way around, where it's like, oh, well, I want to go get a spitting image of him. No, I'm trying to develop him. I don't want to take him from what he is, but I have to develop him inside the pocket. I have to. I owe it to this organization and this fan base to see if I can.
No, you're right. My next question, I feel like I'm lighting a fire here, but that's fine. So Alshon, you get the news. It's not shocking at all. We've been talking about it for a while. He's going to be released as soon as the new league year is open. My question to you, Tom, and the fam at home: how will you remember Alshon Jeffery? Like 5-10 years from now, say your kids, say Cass asks you, what I'm saying? Like, oh, who was Alshon? How will you remember him, and how will you describe him to Eagles fans down the line? Because I think it could really change depending on who you ask.
See, now it's over, right?
Yes.
So being it's over, I can reflect.
Yep.
And the minute I have a chance to reflect, it's going to be how he changed the direction of this organization, valuing, spending money to get their quarterback, a legit number one wide receiver. Okay. And what I witnessed in 2017 was a game changer. And I'll never forget that. All right. So there's no grudges if I think he's the rat and I think this, what I mean? I don't care about any of that. What I'll tell him is how you'll never believe how south it went after. Like, I couldn't explain to you, Cass, how south, not only that player, injuries, etc., how like we were just cursed after.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I remember everything. But all them dudes that were all part of that run, that were huge, impactful dudes, I fucking love. Like, I crush Malcolm. I love Malcolm, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I love these guys for what they did. So I'm not the hater of like, oh, well, he stunk the last accident. No, I remember what he did. Now that he's gone, I can reflect and be rational.
Yeah, I'm proud of a lot of the fam. I mean, there's no right answer. Like, it's an opinion thing, but like a lot of the fam, I'm glad they're talking about like the good things. And I'm not saying everybody on the Super Bowl team needs to be celebrated. Not that at all. If bad things happen after the Super Bowl, which a lot of things with Alshon, it went south to your point, then if people remember, let's say the drop in the 2018 playoffs against the Saints, fine. If they're remembering about the the locker room issues to where I know we've talked about this a lot of time. You and I aren't really even 100% certain he was even that guy, the snitch, quote unquote. To me, I will never forget where I was when we found out Alshon was coming here. Because remember, it was between a little pop quiz for you, Tom. And if you don't remember him, it's not anybody's fault because this guy ended up not panning out where he went. It was Alshon Jeffery and one other name as far as big-time wide receivers that we were looking at. Do you remember the other guy? He was formerly of the Browns in 2017.
Josh Gordon.
No, it's a good Terrell Pryor.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
And he ended up going to Washington, and he fell off immediately.
Stunk.
It was between those two names, and it was kind of like that was a big talk of the town during that time because it was split. Half the city wanted Pryor, the other half wanted Alshon. And Kenny Britt was the other one, too. Miob. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name. But
Kenny Britt, yep.
Yeah, Kenny Britt's another one. When we got Alshon, especially after that 2016 year, it was like, damn, we're going for it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was the first time in a long time we really went for one of those big-time wide receivers, and we knew this guy was legit if he stayed healthy. There was a lot of, the suspensions, the injuries. There was a lot that went wrong in Chicago, but we knew, damn, if this guy clicks here, this guy is the guy.
And there was no wait to say it. It clicked immediately.
Nope. Exactly. And then the whole thing of, hey, I wanted to come here because Wentz is legit. I want to stay here for a long time. Him guaranteeing a Super Bowl like 2 weeks into him being here. And I'll tell you what, there's very little certainties in life, but one of those certainties is seeing Alshon in the end zone every Sunday. You knew, hey, turn on the Eagles game. We knew we're seeing Alshon Jeffery with a touchdown pass or a touchdown catch.
Listen,
we knew.
Injuries. It's so sad the injuries caught him, but thank God we got the Super Bowl because without him, we're not winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of guys
hurt too. It hurt Jordan Labor.
Yeah, and to do that, and then I get the drop in 2018, but then the injuries just were unbelievable after that, and that killed us, and that killed our offense because we did go out and spend the money. So that the fact that we went out and spent the money, we were sort of tied there for a minute. You know what I mean? And it set us back a second, but it didn't in a way because we got our Super Bowl out of it. If he would have stayed, if he was healthy this past year, like even like 90% of what he was in 2017, Carson doesn't have as bad a year as he had. So you know what I mean? Like it just changes everything.
And I think honestly, like we all remember how good the chemistry was with Wentz and Alshon, in the regular season in 2017. But not to take anything away from Nick Foles, because I'm not doing that. But I think having a guy like Alshon on the team for Nick Foles coming in, being like, oh, I'm just going to throw it up and Alshon's going to go get it.
Oh, and he did go get it.
Yeah. Like that's, I don't think people realize how important Alshon was for Nick.
Yeah.
Nick did some really good things for Alshon, obviously. He was that type of quarterback to where Alshon went up and got it. More of a contested type of a quarterback, contested ball type passer. But without Alshon Jeffery, you think Nick Foles is as comfortable as he was? No shot.
No. I mean, even on the RPOs per se, even though you weren't running anywhere. That was his go-to guy on the slants. He would put it in the belly, pull it out, boom, Alshon for 8. Alshon for 8. Like, and listen, it's just it sucks because it wasn't just Alshon that got banged up. It was a lot of other guys that were a part of that. Mm-hmm. Enough times got banged up according to quarterback. So, it just wasn't. We can never get that magic back.
Yeah.
And we tried and we fought through some adversity and a lot of injuries to go to the playoffs the next 2 years. But this past year was a microcosm of all the injuries, all the aging players, and then everything else, missed picks, etc. Right, and then we're at the year we're at now, which is sad. Which was sad. Now it's, hey, how do we get from where we are right now back to that 2017 team? And that's not talking about going and grabbing those, old players. That's talking about by getting young again, how can we figure out how to get back to a Super Bowl? What are other teams valuing to get them to a Super Bowl, right? And that's how you got to start looking at it, all right? And you got to start looking around the league and figuring out how teams are doing it. There's always going to be, if you can get pressure, you're going to win, right? So there's always going to be the build up front. And I hope that this organization still continues to believe that way, right? That you went up front and they spend a lot of big dollars up front, which they've been known to do. So I'll never take that away from them. Now, what they have to do is say, okay, we're going to invest up front like we always do. But while we're doing that, we got to start investing in other places with high round picks.
Mm-hmm.
Corner, linebacker, they've done it with wide receiver, but other things where they start valuing those positions a little bit more. Safety, if there was a guy that would, you know what I mean? Like hypothetically, they could go 6. They're the things that they need to start changing and doing to get back to where they were. All right? That's what they have to do. I mean, if you look back at that and Howie Roseman, a lot of huge signings. Roddy McLeod, Alshon Jeffery, a lot of big-time Brandon Brooks, a lot of big-time signings to get that football team to where they were, right? Not including the under-the-radar guys, right? We're just talking about them. Ronald Darby was a good signing.
Yep.
At the time. So, or a good trade, I think we traded for him, right? But whatever.
Jordan Matthews trade.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you look at it, like as much as I crush the guy, he has the ability, if he can hit some goddamn picks, to get back to where we were, which at least get us back to a playoff team to start. He has the ability. Because he's always been pretty good at free agency. He sucked at the draft. Now this year's going to be telling because he doesn't have money in free agency. So maybe there's more focus on the draft. Maybe they can come out hitting some guys. Maybe some guys from last year can start panning out. Maybe guys like Miles and Dallas Goedert can put it all together, right? Like these are the things we got to start hoping for.
Yeah, and
get back.
The one thing I'll add really quick to the Alshon thing, because we're getting a lot of good comments, it's that I think somebody was asking us, like, what's one word you could use to sum up like Alshon in like 5-10 years, looking back on him. And I think honestly, the ironic thing with Carson and Alshon, as much as the media, and it could be true, obviously their relationship wasn't 100%. We just know that just by looking at the screen. As much as they were kind of painted against each other, right? I think when you look 5-10 years down the line, I think the two most underappreciated players from that 17 Super Bowl, right? Especially in comparisons to the, Foles, Brandon Graham, Barnett, Blunt. I can go on a list, 100 different guys that people talk. Jason Kelce, guys that are kind of the poster boys for that championship, right? I think the two guys that will be kind of the forgotten ones as far as their value in the success of that season will be Carson Wentz and Alshon Jeffery, just based off of how bad everything was after that year for all of the different reasons.
I mean, listen, one guy was walking one guy into an MVP award.
Yep.
And a big part of walking him into it. I mean, that offense was loaded. I mean, that offense had Alshon Jeffery, Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz, okay, a great offensive line, Carson Wentz. That offense was goddamn loaded and a running game. Mm-hmm. And when they needed more of a running game, they went out and got it. I mean, listen, that's why Howie Roseman gets a ton of credit for that year. Mm-hmm. Everything they needed to do, he went out and did and addressed it, and they went and won it. Now, can you do it again? Can you do it again?
And
a lot of them picks were rollovers from Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Or Chip Kelly. So can you do it again? And it starts this year. And I think one word for Alshon, tough.
Yep.
Tough. I have 2 words, catches everything or caught everything. Because that was really, or you know what? Velcro. That would be my one word. Velcro.
Okay. Yeah.
Velcro.
He never dropped it because that's the thing that we've got.
Before he got here, he never dropped shit. In 2017, he didn't drop anything. 2018, he dropped nothing until the one drop. And then it started. He never dropped nothing. He just never on the field.
Yeah. That's the thing that we used to get in so many fights.
Chicago, we caught everything, right? Like, Cutler, like prime years of Cutler. Oh my God. Like fucking him and Brandon Marshall were an issue.
People in the city were calling him the mailman because he always delivered. You know what I'm saying? That was his nickname. They're calling Alshon the mailman. Like, how many times did we used to get in fights with people, you know, when we started seeing Alshon decline, everyone would talk about his speed. Oh, his speed. We lost his legs. That's not why he fell off, guys. He was never. It's that his hands were no longer consistent. He used to be a guy where it doesn't matter if the famous Carson Wentz overthrow to where it's 5 feet too high, Alshon always caught it.
Well, he lost athleticism
from
his injuries.
Yes.
So, that's what it is. So he lost his ability, his vertical a little bit, and he learned some things. Like, he can still catch everything, but it just wasn't, when you're banged up and you're not the same guy, it's hard. It truly is. It's hard.
Don, it's the Chiefs, it's Seattle, and it's the Cowboys. Right? The meaningless Cowboy game. Seattle, when everyone was going crazy, saying Wentz sucked the week before the injury, and Kansas City, week 2. My second question, and this pertains to what's happening now. So the speculation is that Jason Kelce is going to be a cap casualty, is that he's going to either be traded or he's going to be outright released when the new league year opens. Or he's just going to flat out retire, and his money is going to be kind of redacted like Drew Brees' money is going to be, to where it becomes the league minimum. My question to you, Tom, and the fam at home is, how much would it bother you, for numerous reasons, sentimental-wise, and also he's an awesome center and a great leader in the locker room. How much would it bother you to not see Jason Kelce continue being an Eagle for another year? And do you think it's just an idiotic decision to move on from him?
How much money are they saving?
4.4, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love Jason Kelce. It's the same thing. I mean, his play isn't the same, and that's fine. He's older. I love the guy, but we're going in a new direction now. So it's sad. I hate it, but that's where we're at. And it hurts. I get it. It hurts me to even say it. But as much as I'm saying it's like it's time to go, it's time to go. We didn't win again. We didn't get back to where we wanted to get to. And now we're in cap hell. And him, Hurts, and Carson all sitting on the bench together after the game told you everything I think you need to know, that the three of them didn't think they were either going to be back or at least enough of them aren't going to be back. So, I mean, listen, they're trying to save money as much as they can. And it's one of them is what it is, because we're not expected to win anything. So how can I be like up in arms about him not coming back?
Yeah, John, it would be Ciamalo. Ciamalo played center. He's the backup center, so he's kind of the de facto protege if they don't go out and get somebody high up in the draft. Don't get me wrong. It's going to really – I say it's going to because I think it's going to happen, just everything coming out. It's going to really bother me seeing Jason Kelce leave here, whether it's him going to another team or just retire. It's going to bother me. But it's not like we haven't seen this coming. Like, we've been talking about the possibility of Jason Kelce retiring for how many years? Now, I would rather just – sentimental-wise, I would rather him move on his own terms and just call it a career as an Eagle. But – to Tom's point, it's not going to make this team better. Like, if you look at it in the immediate future, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt this locker room. It's going to hurt the offensive line. It's going to add even more questions onto all of the other question marks. So it's not going to be ideal. It's definitely not going to be ideal for, seeing Jalen Hurts kind of, consistency in front of him. But that's not also to say that Ciamalo is going to suck. I don't know. But we know at the most he's going to be around for one more year. I mean, there's very little chance he's going to be with us past this season anyway.
Why is everybody getting all upset? Like, what does everybody think we're winning next year? Like I don't understand. Like, I get it. Like, I would rather just have him back. Like, yeah, let's have him back. But do you guys realize like we don't have the cap room because one, we just traded a guy everybody wanted us to trade and just took a $32 million dead cap hit this year.
You can't have both
money. This is what we did. Right? I'm not going to keep. I'm done talking Carson. I'm just saying, like, we put ourselves into this situation. Fucking Christ! I want the guy
you're
back
right.
too, but it's not realistic anymore now.
I think people were upset with it, not based off of how it affects next season. I think it's kind of like, and I think it's kind of not foolish, but I think as soon as Jason Kelce leaves the building, it's kind of like, well, damn, the honeymoon tour is over. Like that era is over. Not to say like it.
I left the building when Doug left, man.
Yep.
That's when the regime's over.
Yep.
Like that runs over. Not that nobody can be carryovers, because there's always carryovers in organizations, but like that runs over. Now we're restarting it. So, I mean, if he's a stopgap and they bring him back, then great. You know, if they restructure him and bring him back, fine. Like, whatever. Like, I would love him back. But if they move on, I'm not going to be up in arms because I expect to stink.
Brady says, do you think any surprise trades or cuts will happen? Well, I would label the Jason Kelce thing as a surprise cut. I don't buy into the Fletcher. I just can't. Would you be pissed if they moved on from Fletcher, Tom? Just knowing
what's the dead cat money? And listen, everybody, while Rise is doing that, 106 people watch on YouTube, 78 likes. Get us up over 100. Let's go, fam. Let's go.
I know they would save like $2 million or something as opposed to the cap hit and the dead cap.
Yeah, that's not worth it for him.
Exactly. Now, I'd rather
first round pick back or a second round pick. They're not going to get first, but if they're getting a second and a fourth, then maybe you consider it because you need to shed money. You know what I mean? You need to restart it again. It's just I agree with Crum. Like, get out of denial world. No, you're fine.
Yep.
Get out of denial world. We're going to stink. So we have to move on from some of the players that we were loyal to for so long. And it's hard. It hurts. We just did it with a quarterback that we thought was going to be here for 10 years, guys. If you would have asked in 2017 that we'd be moving on from Carson Wentz right now, people would have punched me in the face. So, it's done. I love Fletcher fucking Cox too, man. And that's going to kill me too. I love Zach Ertz, but these guys are probably going to get moved. And they're going to get moved for draft capital, whatever it is. And they're just going to part ways with guys, and they're going to try to redo it again. And now you got to hope that they can hit.
Yeah, you're right.
We'll be talking draft the next 2 years easily. Really into it, maybe the next 3. Unless Hurts is a pimp.
No, you're right. You're right. And what was the comment I saw earlier? Somebody was saying, hey, if now that Alshon's gone, does that guarantee or does that increase the likelihood we go wide receiver in the first? No, I don't think the Alshon affects it at all. Here you go. George says, with the release of Alshon, does that automatically make us go wide receiver in the first? No, I don't think I think the Alshon thing is like a moot point. I don't think it affects anything. I just like, okay, well, now we can get out of the contract. We know we're not going to get anything for him, so we're just going to bite the bullet and move on. And plus, it saves them money too.
Well, they got 5 guys here. We talked about earlier on the show. I mean, 5 guys outside of Fulgham, 4 that were used as assets over the last 2 years at the wide receiver position. They got to go play, and you got to find out if they can. And Fulgham's another one. So you have 5 wide receivers, and Fulgham, Hightower, Watkins, Reagor, and Umbrella Boy that you got to find out if they can play. So now here you go. So you're gonna have a lot of young wide receivers out there. You're starting over, and then you're gonna find out who can play and who can't. And then you got to start hitting in the goddamn draft, which you'll hear me say 5,000 million times. It's not even a word. 5 million fucking times.
Sounded right.
Through the next X amount of months.
Jenna says, Ertz goes for what, a second rounder? If I can get a second round pick out of Zach Ertz, I would do it in 2 seconds. I feel like that would have already happened, though.
I don't think so.
I think a third. I think we're lucky to get a third.
Yeah.
Maybe a 4th and a 5th, maybe, but I don't think we're getting the second.
Maybe a 2 and a 4 for Fletcher if you're lucky. Maybe a 4th for Ertz at this point.
Yeah, maybe like a future 6th. You know what I'm saying?
Not going to get much. So now it's just like, now you're going to get these, right, Jenna, and you're going to hope that you're going to have a ton of 4th round picks, a ton of 3rd round picks, right, that you can maneuver some of these if you want to, right, to get picks either next year they'll do or they'll maneuver and try to move up places. or they'll backload picks for next year, trade some of these picks this year, get a ton next year, and if they got their quarterback they're interested in, then bada boom, bada bing. Now they got 2 firsts, a bunch of 4s, a bunch of 3rds, and now they feel like they got flexibility to go up and get whoever the hell they want. So remember that from their nerd thinking. That's their nerd thinking that gives them room. Not like we're talking about all these picks this year. They ain't going to keep all these picks this year. They're not drafting 14 guys. So you can just get that out of your heads. They may draft 10, right? They'll probably draft 10 guys, but they're going to move 4 of these picks. So if they trade these other guys, don't be like, oh my God, like look at us, we're going to be awesome because we have 27 picks. No, they're going to get rid of them, and they're going to have more picks next year so that they can try to have flexibility. This is what it is. This is what it is.
You're spot on, Tom, as far as their plan of what they're thinking. They're thinking, hey, we're going to have one down year. We're either going to send all of the money to next offseason or a bunch of picks next offseason. And then they're going to say, hey, in 2022, we're going to know, X, Y, and Z, who all these players are. And we're just going to go ham. You know what I'm saying? They're going to go crazy in free agency. They're going to go crazy in the draft. That's what they're thinking. Like, hey, oh my God, we're going to have one down year, and then we're going to be like the Dolphins to where we're going to have a bunch of, you know what I'm saying? Like a bunch of capital, and we're going to be able to go from 4 wins to, 9 wins like that. That's what they're thinking. But to Tom's point, that's all well and good. But if you're not hitting on the needed picks, you're probably going to go backwards. You're not going to go forward.
No, and that's the thing. Like you're gonna carry over picks the following year because if you don't believe that this is your quarterback, you're gonna want to have flexibility to move up and get a quarterback. Or if you're bad, then so be it, and you're gonna have that pick anyway, and then you're still gonna have a ton of draft capital to build around that quarterback the following year. So because they're tied with money, they're not gonna probably draft more than 10 guys. So if they do trade these guys, it might be for picks the following year, okay? Or they'll trade them picks this year for the following year. You know what I mean? So just expect that. Now, somebody said, "Do we draft best guy available?" George Brown says, "Yes, outside of the quarterback position, yes." Yep. Are we expecting? Brady says, "Are you expecting them to trade out of the first round?" No. Trade back, sure. Trade to 15, 10, 11, 12, whatever. Yeah, I can see that happening for sure. But to trade out, no. And then the same thing they would do, right? They wouldn't use all them picks this year that they received, like Bill was talking about and we were talking about. You guarantee 2 of them picks go to next year. You know what I mean? And it's just how it works. You know what I mean? So they go into next year saying, oh, we got 10 picks. So we can move around. Or right, they trade them and they move up this year for one player. You know what I mean? That's sort of how like teams do it. So that'll be interesting to see if they're more of a volume shooter. Like through this process where they're going to have a lot of picks you would expect over the next 2 years. Do they become a volume shooter, or do they become a team that hones in on guys and goes and gets them? Now, if you're a hone in on cat guy, if your uncle hone in, you better hit all day, baby. You better hit all day. You better hit all day, period. But you better hit all day if you start honing. Honing's a different cat. So the guy who starts binoculars and he's going, we'll trade these 2 picks and we'll get this guy. Better be a hit, right? You go up for a Jeremy Chin, right? You go up for a guy that's a hit. That's a can't miss. All right, how'd this guy get to the second round? All right, well, we're going to, not how Jalen Hurts got to the second round. How'd this guy get to the second round? And then let's go get him, right? And that's, somebody said earlier on, well, 1 or 2 guys isn't going to change your organization. Well, I disagree. Like, that starts your change. Like you don't need 45 picks and hit on 45. You got to start just hitting on some studs, right? And wherever that may be. So if you only come out of this draft with 2 studs, it's a win. You come out of next year's draft with 2 studs, it's a win. Now you start having studs, right? Now you got 4 studs. So what would you rather have? 20 picks and it be a bunch of just guys? Or do you want studs? I want pimps, right? I see what pimps can do. Game changers change the game. If I got 4 pimps out of the next 2 years, and guess what? I'm a different football team automatically.
That's a core. That's a young core that we've been desperate for.
Right now, I'm pimpless. I'm absolutely fucking pimpless right now. Come on, guys. And first off, we're not over 100 likes on YouTube. It's upsetting because there's 116 people watching plus. Let's go over there. Pound the like. Listen, it's a process. All right, just like the Eagles. I think Mike Grimm said. Yep, it's an Eagles process, Mike. Sorry, my asses are still tough because of my fucking tooth, but that'll be handled Wednesday, babe. What do you mean Tom changed the culture? We're not getting Tom. Like Jalen Hurts isn't Tom Brady. So like there's no way like he doesn't have the resume for guys just to believe they're going to win. You know what I mean? They're just not going to believe they're going to win like that. Now, I'll say it a million times, George, it is Jalen Hurts' team. Like they need to give him the reins, the keys, however you want to fucking call it, because they used to pick on him and trade their franchise quarterback, right? So that means he's the next guy up. So let's go. Right? Let's see if he can play, George. Now I switch and I rally around my new quarterback, right? What up, my brother? Running back in the house. And yeah, I mean, you take Pitts, Mike Grimm, you take corner and second. There's a lot of things you can do, but you got to go hit fucking talent. Now it's inexcusable not to be talking Pro Bowlers. Like I need Pro Bowlers. Where are young Pro Bowlers? Davion Taylor? No. Kayvon Wallace? No. We don't think these guys. Jalen Reagor? I think sure, fine, great. You know, where are they? Where Miles Sanders? Not yet. Where are they? Dallas Goedert? Not yet. So somebody tell me the young talent. I need ballers. I don't need a million picks. I need football players.
Yeah, I don't like honestly when you were saying, Tom, like we're pimpless, it's true. Like honestly, I'm very curious to see like the fam. If you had to be like, oh, that's our guy, you know, when you talk about like, oh, who's the it guy for each team? I'm very interested to say who or to hear who that guy is according to a lot of people for the Eagles. Because it's not like you said, it's not Miles right now. It's not Dallas. I can't say it's the quarterback because the organization won't even say it's the quarterback. There's really nobody of note on defense unless I'm talking about Fletcher. But even him, you know, I'm not going to go there.
How many picks, Rye? Jalen Hurts, John Hightower, Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert. How many goddamn offensive players are you going to take before you have to say, I'm doing something wrong on my eval?
Clayton Thorson.
Like how many? Like these guys got to be able to like, grow and play together and see if they can play, right? I mean, that's what you tied your wagon to. They tied their wagon to this. This is asinine for anybody to talk about a quarterback in the first, second, third, fourth fucking round this year. Come on. Okay, Miles is a Pro Bowl. Here we go. Now we're freaking.
Was he pimpish though, Eagles champ? Would you say pimpish?
Come on. When was he a Pro Bowler? This year? Did he
Was
get?
he?
Nobody else got in or what? Like
I was going to say, did the other 20 running backs ahead of him opt out?
My eyes tell me that he has not been a Pro Bowler yet since he came in the league. Has he been electric at times? Yes. Pro Bowler? No. We need to stop riding coattails all the time. We always want to sit on Santa's lap and fucking rotate in the city. Like, he has not earned the right and order respect that they be talking at him at this level. He needs to earn that shit. We crown the wrong motherfuckers too early. This guy comes out and starts talking. Oh, I'm going to be MVP this year. And yes, you stunk. You stunk. You put the ball on the turf 1,000,000 times. You couldn't catch a cold. Okay, that's not how guys respond. That talk is cheap shit. Talk is cheap. See, because our fans are assholes. Then
that's worse than the NBA vote, the All-Star voting. That's worse than the fan voting over there.
And I like Miles.
Yeah,
but this is it. We got to stop crowning guys. He doesn't deserve shit yet. Shit. Like I'll take Najee Harris in the second fucking round. All right, don't tempt me with a good time.
Trade back in the first to get him. Okay, I'll get reckless. I don't give a damn because I know that guy's a grown man. Not that Miles isn't, but damn.
99. Let's go. 99 likes on YouTube. Can we get one more? And can you guys hit the subscribe, please? And thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
I'm not a mean guy. You selected the Madden selection. Whoop-de-do. You know what I mean?
That's an indictment. I mean, that's an indictment of the whole friggin' system.
Georgie, I don't disagree with you, but can he handle it? Can his body handle?
Can't stay healthy. Guy can't stay healthy.
I mean, he was healthy the down the stretch 2 years ago because Jordan Howard took a lot of the rock early on, and then he had fresh legs. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Miles, but I need a power back with him because I'm going to get the best Miles Sanders I can get, George, in my opinion, with a change of speed. And not even change of speed, just a guy who's willing to put his foot in the ground and run somebody the hell over, like Najee Harris, right? And then I think I see the best Miles Sanders version I can see. What do you guys think about that? Like, that's what I think I'm missing from Miles' game, because I think 12 carries and 12 to 15 carries, because the way I look at Miles is a home run hitter, right? So he can take 1-7 into the house. So obviously I want to get the ball in his hands, but I would rather use Miles more out of the air, which he struggled with this year, than him running up the gut, because that's where he doesn't want to do either. I watch him run. I know when a guy wants to run and wants to run pretty. He wants to run pretty sometimes. You all know this. I love Miles, but he wants to run pretty. There's one to run the football, and there's one to run pretty. And Miles gets a little pretty when he don't want to put the foot in the ground. Why do you think Deuce used to ream him out all last year? Deuce was reaming his ass out for the same things I reamed his ass out for. But guess what? Nobody wants to hear it because we fall in love affairs and Tom's a hater. No, I ain't. No, I ain't, Miles. I ain't no damn hater. I'm a realist. Put your foot in the damn ground if you want to talk MVP. Right? MVP put the damn foot in the ground. Shit, there was a quarterback for Baltimore the year before who put his fucking foot in the ground and won an MVP. So you're a running back.
And don't put the ball on the ground either. Put your foot in the ground. Don't put the ball on the ground.
No, he don't do it. He puts the ball on the ground and the foot. Everything the opposite.
By the way, congrats to Bryce Blackwell. See what he put in here, Tom?
My man, let's go. Let's go. It doesn't sink in right away either, by the way, Bryce. When he comes, it's still like weird. I'm like looking at him. I'm like, holy fuck, you're mine. That's awesome.
Are you real? Is this a real thing? You know what I'm saying?
Look like me a little bit, man.
This is kind of real.
All right. You know what I mean? Don. Hey, Ryo vouch for this.
Oh, don't say that name in front of me. Oh,
I would have went down. I would have went and got down. I would have drafted DeAndre Swift over Jalen Reagor.
21. We were talking about 21. We were arguing with Chucks. We were forget.
Nick, you should have taken Justin Jefferson. I'm just saying over Jalen Reagor, I would have taken DeAndre Swift. I have more higher on my board. Like, I'm just a guy at home, right? And I just watch football. Oh.
Dominic says, you guys think Eagles should trade Fletcher?
Sorry, right? Look at this. My keyboard went. Look at the Eagles chant. Look at what he said. Look at
Miles wasn't even given a chance. All right.
Oh my God! Look at it! Participation trophy, giving a goddamn chance. He wasn't on the football field enough. All right, because he got banged up. That's on his own accord. All right, and then when he was, I mean, how many big balls did he drop? How many first possessions did he fumble? Cleveland, he cost us that football game. Okay, and you can say he cost us the Rams game too.
Tom, I want to say something that I said week 3. Or whatever the week was when we tied the effing Bengals, okay? And 90% of the chat got mad at me.
Good times, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic. I love it. It's like freaking nostalgia looking back at that game.
Miss those days.
Freaking Doug Peterson not going for the win. Anyway,
I don't care.
I said that next day.
I don't care if it's 4th and 5,000 football fields. I'm going for it. Like, it could be 4th and 2 million. And I'm like, all right, well, we're not going for a tie here. Let's wear it out.
Especially looking back, that tie killed us. As far as draft position, hurt us.
We knew it would.
Yeah, of course. We knew it was going to come back to bite us.
Back to the originally scheduled point.
I said the next day that, hey, because remember the controversy was, oh my God, we didn't see Miles Sanders in the final possession, the final series in the 4th quarter, right? Oh my God, why is Boston Scott on the field? And I said, hey, fam, maybe they don't trust Miles Sanders, right? Because he's not doing what he needs to do as far as stuff he can control. Fumbling the football, staying healthy, right? And everyone said, oh, that's disrespectful to Miles Sanders. He's their guy. Well.
Hold on. Oh, yep. Here they go. See, this is what happens.
Doug, stop running the ball, right?
You ain't fucking smoke a cigarette. Right? You guys want to tell me. Doug, stop running the football. Look at you, San. San, I know Carson played like shit. You just want to hold accountability in one area, baby. Look, San, did he not fumble when we're going into the goddamn end zone? I mean, would you grow up, Peter Pan? It became a trend to his ass. So hold his ass accountable, just like we held the quarterback accountable. Because I held the quarterback accountable. I was calling for his benching. So don't tell me any of this shit, because anybody listening to A2D News know where I felt about Carson at the end of it. All right? Everybody knows. Okay, so don't hold guys accountable. TJ, shut up. All right, shut up. It's a 2 QB system. All right, I thought they were going to do it because of the cap hit. So get off my dick. All right, get off of it. Hit the like and subscribe too, TJ, if you haven't already, brother.
Thanks, TJ. Thank you.
Where are we going? Where are we going? This guy's fucking triggering me. I love them all. I love all you guys.
Oh, you're fine. Is
They-
that
Go off me. They want to start coming at me. Like, or it's Doug's fault. Miles couldn't catch a fucking cold. Or you're going to tell me that didn't cost us the game. Are you kidding me? Our offense was sputtering. We needed a first. We needed a touchdown. You jackass. All right, and what happened, Sam? What happened? He put it on the turf again because he's a loser. And the rise point, you know what? Because one, Doug doesn't make the running back decisions. It's Deuce, and he was in Deuce's doghouse. That's another reason his ass was on the bench, and Boston Scott was in over him, which tells you a lot. Boston Scott was an NFL player.
Everyone stop. Wait. Does that mean, since we're all under the same umbrella and we all are on the same page, that Deuce Staley had a lot of control, right? When you talk about the running back group, and people saying the team didn't run the ball enough, doesn't that mean that it would be an indictment of Deuce Staley? Isn't it interesting how it's like, depending on the narratives, right, Tom? Like, oh, Deuce was a better head coach than Doug Peterson.
Yeah. But Deuce never left. But Deuce always took Miles off the field.
He was the one going crazy on Miles Sanders on the sideline. He's the one that took him out. But but Deuce Staley, he was the voice of reason, right? Like, none of us are haters of Miles Sanders. I freaking, number one, I took him like 6th overall in fantasy. That did not age well in the fantasy draft. Two, the bold prediction of mine also didn't age well, is that he was going to break Shady McCoy's all-purpose yards record. That didn't age well. So if anyone's thinking that the two of us on screen are haters of Miles Sanders, enough. Why do you honestly believe they took Miles? They literally shut down Miles Sanders at end games.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's how you get blocked.
If you notice, there's a lot of black dudes who play in the National Football League. So I'm sorry if I got to be critical of one of them. Just like I'm critical of whatever white dudes play. Just like I was critical of the quarterback here too, right? Is that because he's white? Right? You know what I mean? All right. And I'm fucking Sicilian, so I don't even fucking count. So shut the fuck up. I'm
pretty sure we're fans of Joel Embiid in the city, right, Tom?
Yeah, it's like my favorite. He's like, I call him my son, but yeah. Fucking Cameroon. Get a clue. Get a fucking grip. Go ahead, right?
What are you saying, Jesus? Or Pop Mountain? That's Pop Mountain. Really, 6th overall with everything else on the board. Is there another Ryan in the chat? What did I say? 6th overall? I don't know. Pop, let us know. I don't know.
Running back says, I'm impressed this made this far to the race bait comment.
Yeah. 1:30:37. That's the official marker. Hour and 30 minutes.
Can't stand it. Like, it's nothing to do with that. I love my black family. What the fuck is wrong with people?
Like, you could have, like, that comment could have been anything else. I was not expecting it to go there.
I fucking smoke Dallas Goddard all the time. What are you talking about? Like, I smoked Goddard. I smoked Earth for being a bitch. I smoked Carson for stinking and saying, okay, time to bench him. Right? Like, I just sat here and blew Jalen Hurts, and I don't even think he's an NFL starting quarterback yet, and maybe might never be one, but I'm going to rally around them. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh, he's Pop's talking about the friggin' fans. Yeah, no, listen, I'm not, I mean, it's on tape, you know, it's not a good moment of mine. You know what I'm saying? At least I didn't take Alshon Hooper in the second, Ralph. Anyway, I had to throw that ricochet shot out of there. That way I can get out of my head. But no, like we said, the best Miles Sanders is when he could feed off of another guy. Like, oh, did it make us a hater when we said, oh, let's get in Leonard Fournette or Adrian Peterson or a power back? No. Is it making a hater saying, oh, if Najee Harris is there in the second or Master Teague or another guy who can help Miles Sanders, is that going to make us a hater Miles Sanders? No. It's that we have a sample size of, hey, when Miles Sanders doesn't have to do everything, and you look back, sorry to bring this up again, but 2017, when you have guys at the running back position doing numerous things, it's kind of the variety and the recipe for success, is it not?
I mean, I watched a combo of Howard and Miles be really productive, and I watched the organization not address it in the offseason, come in status quo, come in missionary, have a chance to draft a guy like J.K. Dobbins in the second round, and really address the power standpoint of their running back room, and go draft a quarterback. So I have no clue, and the TJs, yes, we'll be doing mock drafts and all that shit. Okay, probably for the next 5 years now. But to the point is like, you know, I can't trust anything anymore, and it's like so sad. Like, I want to rally around stuff and be like the glass half full guy, right? Like my expectation level and my trust is a 1 right now. Like moving forward, like they have to really prove me wrong for me to give this organization any bit of credit moving forward.
Yeah, mine, going back to your question from your show last night, Tom, or yesterday afternoon when you were talking about like the confidence level, I'm going to go -11 just because for some reason 11 seems like the proper number. But no, I have no confidence. I don't know how anyone's confidence could be above 5. And I feel like I should be saying I don't know how anybody's confidence could be above 3. And Bill, I like your style, Bill. He says, hey, TA and Rye, how many touchdowns does JJ Arcega-Whiteside get this year? I'm not going to say 11, Bill. I'm not going to give you that. I'll say 1. I'll say Miles fumbles in the end zone again, and he'll pick it up. So I'll go 1.
Bill, you'll like this. If they don't draft the receiver in the first 2 rounds, okay, which I don't think they will.
I don't want them to.
But they could. If they don't, I think he could have 5. Because that means he's going to have to play. And maybe can run into 5. Please. For the love of God, you are a second-round pick. Please run into 5. 4? 4? Can we meet at 4? Can we just 4? How about a 4? Anybody say 4? Let it go 4. We'll go 4. How about that? Okay? Because I just need you to act like you're wearing a jersey. So please, for the sake of this organization, for the sake of us moving forward, for the sake of us knowing one way or the other, can you just do 1 or 2 things for me next year, JJ? Can you either just hold the umbrella and flat out stink? Okay, so we know it's okay. We don't have to ever talk about you again. Or can you come out of your air quote shell and show us some signs of life that you are becoming a guy who is worthy of where you were picked at? And that's going to be the question. You know what? Because he is. I mean, when you need an umbrella in the sun, Don, I'm going to be here to help you.
Don, you know why he's talking to him like a child? It's because when that is your photo, you are not a grown man. Okay? You're not.
So I have question marks there. But no, I mean, to me, it's with all these young guys, it's for them to go out and play, and I need them all. I need them all to play. Like when you talk about Reagor, when you talk about Watkins, when you talk about Hightower, right? When you talk about Fulgham and JJ, I need them all to play. That's 5 wide receivers.
Here's a not so fun question because it shows how bad our situation is. Who are you most confident in the wide receiver group currently assembled? Can we just get a zoom in on Tom's face? This silence is brought to you by pain, followed by more pain. Sponsored by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh my goodness.
I don't have an answer. So that's why I asked you, because I do not have an answer. And I'm not going to say Reagor because he was a first-round pick, because Howie Roseman made the first-round pick.
Oh, God.
Can I say Quez Watkins? Can I say that without having to, fire myself from my own show?
You should say and then fire yourself.
Okay. Oh, no, I got to go Hightower. If you could play on a blue field, you can play anywhere. I'm going Hightower.
If you put a gun to my head, right, if you're gunning me, I'm going to go Reagor. I'm going to go Reagor. I'm going to fucking pray to God.
That's growth out of you.
Pray to God. I got to pray.
I know, Mad Brow. I know Greg has been solid, but he's Greg Ward, for God's sakes. Okay. And that's no disrespect. Greg Ward, credit to him for being in the league, given he was a quarterback 3-4 years ago.
No, I mean, if Greg's on the roster, he's the best wide receiver. But I don't know if he's going to be on the roster. I don't know what direction they're going to go here because they spent all them picks, used 3 picks on wide receivers last year. So it really ties you up.
It's a good name, Chrome, just because he's a veteran, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
but he had like one, like everyone's saying like, oh, Marquise Goodwin had that one great season. It wasn't even a great season. It was like a great like 6 games.
Well, we can say this, right? We can admit to this. We don't, outside of Goodwin, right? Because he's older.
Yeah,
I don't care which one of them wants to step up and be special, but one of these 5 guys that we talked about, right? Reagor, Hightower, Watkins, Fulgham, right? Whiteside. Okay. One of them 5 guys has to officially say, you know what? I'm the alpha dog here, right? I'm the true number 1. I'm gonna go catch 80 balls a goddamn year, right? If not, then guess where we got to go again at some point? Back to the well, right? So this is really, because for all these guys, it's year 2 or 3, right? So there's no rookie wall, okay? There's none of that anymore. So you either develop or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to find out a lot because it doesn't matter which guy it is. It doesn't matter your pick, right? I don't care where you were picked or if you're a practice squad guy. I don't care, right? Just one of them go be an alpha. And if that's Fulgham, that'd be great too. Like, I don't care who it is. You know what I mean? Even if it's not a Howie draft pick. But one of them has to be a hit, right? And are any of them guys going to be a hit?
No, I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but I mean, I'll definitely be more surprised than be like, oh yeah, I was definitely expecting that to happen. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Reagor to me, he looks to me like a 3rd wide receiver who can be speedy sometimes when he actually finishes a route. Like, again, a lot of the stuff I don't like about Reagor has nothing to do with like his potential. It's just that it's
like a Nelson Aguilar light.
Yeah, like I just don't. There's a lot of things like in his head I just don't like. I don't like that he can't finish routes. I don't like that he barely gets off of the line of scrimmage. I don't like that when he actually catches a ball, he jogs. I don't like that in the first season he was banged up like 7 different times. I don't like that the guy thinks he's already friggin', Moss, and the guy is not very good. Like, I'm not really a big fan of what I've seen out of Reagor for a bunch of different reasons. Now, can he grow out of that? Yes. Can he actually grow up? Yes. Am I banking on it? No.
Well, I mean, grow up comes with you're going to grow up and learn how to run a route. You're going to grow up and have the hips to run a route, right?
Yeah, like there's a difference. Like, there's certain things that as a 1st-round talent, like you shouldn't be asked to develop into. It's like either you have it and you're showing signs that you have it, or you just don't. And he showed signs, like he seemed like he had some kind of rapport. He had some good chemistry with Hurts. I think that's something to build off of. I like that they're down in Texas or somewhere south and they're practicing. Like I get all that, but I'm not betting the house on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not betting my freaking mortgage that it's happening.
No, and Collins, right? I mean, if we just would have drafted the right guy there, but that's the thing I'm going to stop doing, Kyle, is like because we're in such shit mode right now. Is that like I'm just going to try to keep looking forward, and looking forward is to this draft and. How can we almost talk it into existence, like talk the right pick into existence. And, and the crazy thing is like, there's some good names on the board. And like I said, the ride, like they can easily go do it. And I could be shocked where I don't think they go wide receiver because of what we just talked about. Like how are you going there again? Like you're running out of room. So you must be releasing somebody. Fine. Like maybe they're like, okay, we're done on JJ. Right. And we go wide receiver. Right. Like they could. You know what I mean? Wouldn't shock me. You're just in cap hell. So I just wouldn't, it wouldn't make sense to me. But everything's possible, or whatever. You know what I mean? They're just like, no Fulgham, no JJ. We're gonna go wide receiver here, right?
I would just say, and granted, we're like 2 months out. Okay, so a lot can change, but I would say for the sanity of the fan base, I'm just gonna give a little, not advice because who the hell am I, but. For the people in this fan base, and I know there's a lot of them, and nobody disagrees that wide receiver is in need, but anyone who's been saying the last month and a half, and it's going to continue saying for the next 2 months, hey, Smith or Chase or bust, right? Like, why those 2 or bust, going in and saying if they don't get one of these 2 guys, like I see all the time, every friggin' day on these Eagles fan pages, you don't get one of the
last time we did that,
it was dangerous.
We were winless for Wiggins. Thank God we didn't get Wiggins. So it's not always the guy who you think should be the guy. Not saying them two guys are going to be Wiggins. I'm saying I really don't care. If you stay at 6, and this is so cliche and I don't care, outside quarterback, it is the best player available. Mm-hmm. So if it is Smith, if it is Chase, then guess what? And your hands are tied and they're the best guys, then you go and you take them. Understood? Mm-hmm. Understood? If they're not, then you're just taking the best guy.
Like I'm honestly, like, I beg the fan base, and I know people are going to get crazy, but it's like, if they come out of the draft with anybody other than, like I said, Chase or Smith, they're going to be unhappy. Like, oh, if it's not named those two guys, we failed. That's a horrible mindset to have, and you're never going to be happy with it. You're going into it 3 months from now, 2 months from now, and I can already tell you're not going to be happy. You're not. If we land Surtain or Pitts or Parsons or whoever, or Farley or Horn, or we trade out and say, I can see it now. Say, both Chase and Devontae are there at 6. I don't think Devontae's getting past 3, but if they're both there and we trade out, okay, and we go to 9 or we go to 15 or 12, even if we make a great trade and we make a great pick, people are still going to be unhappy. My advice to those people is, we have so many holes to fill. Don't go into that mindset. If we were one player away, if we were, a shutdown wide receiver away from a Super Bowl, right? Being a contender again, and we had a great defense that's cheap, and we had a good offensive line, a quarterback, and a running game, and all that, then I'd have that mindset completely. But we're not there, ladies and gentlemen. That ship has sailed.
No, it's listen, this is what it comes down to. I said it the other day. If they draft somebody that I haven't heard of before, that's when you get punched square in the fucking mouth. Okay? Like last year, where Jalen Reagor, who? What? I watch a ton of college football, okay? Like, that's not a guy that I was like, oh, him. In the first round, it should be, oh, okay. I know. Yep. Makes sense? That's how first round picks go. After that, you might get hit once in a while with not knowing a guy, right? You shouldn't really get hit the first 2 rounds without like being like, who the fuck's this guy? You know what I mean? You should not get hit with that. Okay. If you watch college football like I do and most of the people out there that are watching do, right? Okay. Like that's what we do. We love college football. All right. Because obviously we're not only looking for talent, we just love football in general. So, okay, if you don't know a guy, as long as you know a guy, then you, like in this draft, you're like, okay, all right, let's hope he can play, right? It's when you're like, what the fuck? Like if they go draft a guy at 6 that's really projected like 25, then you leave this draft day miserable, okay? There's ways to leave it miserable. But I agree with you, Rye. Like, and to take a quarterback at 6, then feel free to square yourself up. If they reach at 6, feel free to square yourself up. As long as they take one of the 5 goddamn fucking names that we've talked about numerous times, if either Smith, Surtain, Pitts, Chase, Parsons, even Sewell, right? Like you can even go Sewell if he's there, right? So you have options. So, I mean, not saying all of them guys are going to be hits, but like they're all guys that I think we all like for the most part, right?
That's our board. That's our big board.
And that's not in any order. Like in order, Surtain is one on my big board, and then it's really everybody else is up for grabs in a way. Besides, I have Jamar Chase a lot later than a lot of people do in my like top 5, 6, but Pitts really jumped for me. But that doesn't mean that's the right pick. Like I go Surtain. I don't go Pitts. But now Surtain's off the board, which I don't think he would be, then what direction do you go? If you feel like you can get Surtain at 9, then maybe trade back. If you feel like you can get Surtain at 12 somehow because you just don't feel like the run of corners is going to happen, then go ahead. Like, whatever. But you better get shit right.
Yeah. And the second thing I'll say with the wide receiver, second piece of advice, it's like the friggin' A2D Dr. Phil show now. The other thing I'm seeing, I think it's even more, not outlandish, because I understand we all want to have hope and plans for off seasons. But like we've talked about a million times, there's a part of us as fans or, doing stuff that we do or even as the organization and just recognizing what's realistic and what is just completely outlandish. I understand we say, hey, there's a million ways to get under the cap. But everyone throwing out names like Godwin and Galladay and names like and Robinson, like the big name free agents at wide receivers. The other storyline is, hey, we have to be targeting these guys in free agency. Number one, would I love Chris Godwin here? Would I love Kenny Galladay, Robinson, etc.? Of course I would. But for the same reasons why we said it's either A, unlikely, or B, maybe not the best move to take somebody at 6 in the draft with wide receiver, you can times that by 20 when you talk about putting all the money into somebody in free agency that's going to command a lot of money.
You don't have it, guys. If you want to look at wide receivers, right, then tell these people, hey, you look next year. Who's next year available when you now are saving a shit ton of money? Okay, then you go in that direction, but not this year. So who's the free agent wide receivers after 2021? Like, that's what I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me who them guys are, and then you start looking at those guys. But this year, you can't even look at it. You can't.
If people want to talk about veteran free agent options at wide receiver, you're talking about names, and I'm not in love with any, with all of these names. A name I like is Corey Davis. Okay, you can possibly get him for cheaper. Curtis Samuel, you can get him for cheaper. Sammy Watkins, I don't want any part of him, but you can get him for cheaper. Guys like that. Marvin Jones, possibly. You're not, but like Marvin Jones, I feel like you're reaching there. I would love Marvin, but
they're not going that direction right now. I promise.
Exactly. You have too many question marks, guys that are younger and cheaper that you got to figure out if they can play.
Yeah, talk to me in a year or two.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When they actually have the money to do it. Like, forget all the rest. They don't have the money, guys. So anybody who's talking like that, there's no money. Wow. I mean, yeah, that would be fun. Cooking with the Jones. Jalen Hurts the next Tom Brady. Yeah, I mean, I'll fucking take it.
What are you cooking over there? Can I have what you're having, please?
Right? Gongo says $73 million in cap space after this coming season. So, this draft becomes important to start building that foundation. And then the money, there's money to play with. So that's why you have to give Jalen Hurts this year. Because, you can really get good the following year. And even if he can't play. But if he can't play, you're going to have a top 3 pick, right? So if he can't play, you're going to have a top 3 pick, and you're going to have $73 million in cap space. And another first-round pick, right? Potentially. So, I mean, now you're really in a spot where, wow, you can go from bad to good real fast with a bunch of new names and new players and all kinds of shit and be a completely different direction of a football team.
Yeah, I mean, the names that are coming up in 2022 because I know some people will be like, oh, who's coming up? Devontae Adams, Sanders, Tyler Lockett, Robbie Anderson. You got Crowder, you got DJ Moore, you got Calvin Ridley, Cortland Sutton, Chuck's guy, Dante Pettis, DJ Chark. It's like I named like 10 guys. I named like 6 guys, and it's already better. Mm-hmm. Like freaking DJ Chark in 2 years or in a year? Yes. Where do I sign up? Calvin Ridley? Yes. DJ Moore? Yes.
Yeah, but Jacob, you'd be drafting a quarterback number 1 overall the next year. Because you would just, at worst, you would just give up your other first-round pick. And if you're top 3, and you say you're 3 and you want to get the 1, then just give them your other pick and some other shit, and you're up to 1. You know what I mean? So, to me, if you stink this year coming up, you stink. But then guess what? Then you go draft your quarterback in the top 3 the following year, right? And then you hope you hit on that guy. But if Jalen can play, then it's a win-win. Then it's a win-win because then the next year you have 2 first-round picks and $73 million. So now you start having some leverage, even though I don't think this guy's going to get it right. But you have the leverage of starting to be able to say, okay, look at this. Look how fast we rebuilt this team, right? You have the ability to. And if Jalen can play, then guys are going to want to come here. Now, guys, if Jalen can't play, then, a pimp early on in the draft will get guys that want to come here too. Just like it got Alshon that want to come here for Carson. And that was only after 1 year of Carson, right? He already wanted to come here. So, you know what I mean? Like, you go get a stud, and guys are going to want to come here. So, but I hear you. But, you can rebuild a football team the other ways and then say, okay, shit, we need to go get that quarterback next year. You know what I mean? You can do it that way. You can say, okay, we're thinking this is the guy, and then you evaluate him, right? And you find out if he is or isn't, and then the next year you say, okay, fuck, now we got to go get one, right? Right? And you got $73 million, so you can get better real quick, right? Right?
Listen, that dark cloud could be a lot smaller than we feel right now. If Howie ends up learning how to do X, Y, and Z way better than how he has done it the last 3-4 years. So that's the glimmer of hope. Doesn't feel like there's anything, but there is. But we also have to be responsible and let us get to that window first.
Yeah, like Jacob, was Joe Burrow considered a pimp, the year out before he went and won the Heisman? No. So you know what I mean? Like that they tell you that, there's not as many good guys the next year. And then guess what? There's going to be a quarterback that figures some things out and becomes a flat out pimp. Just how it goes every year.
Jacob, I said it.
There's always going to be a quarterback.
Yep. Jacob, I said it at the very beginning in the open. Half the country didn't know who Patrick Mahomes was when he was drafted. That's Mahomes. That's the guy who's the greatest quarterback in the league right now. So there's always guys. Nobody knew who Wentz was, a year before the draft. Nobody knew who Jared Goff was. It happens every year.
Last thing on this. If you're a good organization and Jalen Hurts is even in the top 15 in where you need him to be quarterback-wise, okay? With all these picks and all this money next year, you should be able to be a playoff team. Like if he can get better than what he was, you should be a playoff team. If he can get a little bit, he just has to get better in the pocket, which maybe he can, right? But like we talked about, he can make big plays. So big plays keep drives going. Big plays can keep you in football games. So if you can build a defense and build things around him, maybe he can be the guy for us, right? I don't think he's that guy, but he can develop. Maybe he can develop into that guy, right? Maybe he can. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but all I know is if you want to try to look positive at it, you got to go let him run right now and see if he does get better, right? In a different offense, etc., right? See what his skill set is. And then you can decide, okay, is this going to be our quarterback? And because you're not in a rush mode because you talked about having, $73 million coming up and saying that, this is a 2 to 5 year rebuild, as Jeffrey Lurie said. So he opened up that time frame.
True. Gongo says real quick, Jags declining option on Tyler Eifert. Been saying it hurts for the Jags third, and that's a good third because it's obviously, one of the first picks in the third round because they have the number one pick.
Guys, nobody's more critical of Hurts is me. Oh, I didn't compare Hurts to Barrows. I don't know who said that or Barrow. I didn't do that. I said he couldn't.
Sorry, Tom. I just read Cullen Miller's.
That's funny. I'll let him go there. I agree with you. He's not. He is a 52% completion percentage guy. He's a one look and run guy, and until he figures out how to go through his progressions better, I don't know how many games he's going to win. Like if he can get his completion percentage up to around with his skill set this year, around 58, I'll start to feel a lot more comfortable about him because then I'll see progression. But it's almost like Ben with free throws. Like I have to see it year in, year out, him get better at that skill set. Now my eyes are going to tell me just by watching the game if he's one look and going. You know what I mean? You're going to know right away. Now he's really working on his hips and really working on that stuff. So now it's trust. Will you trust your skill set to go through the reads and then be able to break down and go? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. I don't know. He's never been that guy. That was my biggest critique coming out. So, he's going to a new QB guy. Deshaun Watson goes to him. So I'm hoping that this guy can get him really focused on the hip gate and going through them reads and trusting himself. And then still being able to use his skill set to his advantage, but not having to run 20 times a game. Hey, maybe you only got to run 7. But I always say I'd rather you make a lot more plays with your legs outside the pocket throwing than I would you running. You know what I mean? And that's where I think the quarterbacks really figure it out. With these guys who can move like him, once he can figure out how to keep his eyes downfield and extend plays, that's when he becomes really dangerous. Makes sense? That's when he becomes a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he become a weapon. Now, can you go up in the pocket? That's it. That's the question mark of him. Can he throw from the pocket? I got no toughness. All the can you throw from the pocket? If you can throw from the pocket, this football team can be better sooner than later. If he can't, then we'll be talking quarterback for a long fucking time.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, what do we have to lose now besides more football games?
I hear you.
Great show, Rye.
Yeah, you too.
Like always, fam. We can't thank you enough for all joining us. You know, if you're just in, please subscribe wherever you're at. Please like the video wherever you're at. Even if you hated us, like it. We got shows daily here on ATD Radio, sometimes even more than one. You know what I mean? We got tons of shows and more coming. So stay tuned. We can't thank you all enough.
Two spot tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. So instead of ATD Wednesday nights usually that we do, I gotta get tooth situation on Wednesday. So tomorrow night we'll be live, and before us, Lazy Booking. And right, who's their guest?
The one, the only, Candace Michelle.
There you go, fam. There you go. Candace Michelle, enjoy that on Lazy Booking tomorrow night. That'll be fun with the Chrome Man and Maddie and Andy. So, yeah, I think Jeff too. So, soak it in, enjoy it, but turn your alerts on. We got everything for everybody here on A2D Radio. Hit that like button on this damn fucking video before I start fighting people, okay? All right, the Eagles are in bad times. I don't need to start fighting the people. All right, I don't need to start fighting the people. So, I'll be out for, fam, I know you're going to hate to see it, but I'll probably be out for 48, 72. But I don't know. I said this, and I got through. My face was swollen like Hitch 5 days ago, and I was doing shows, all right? And that's because Carson got dealt, and it was bigger than me. And my wife looked at me and said, oh, man, of course it would happen today. And I said, yep, fuck me. She said, yeah, your luck. So,
I would say as long as you don't have, like, the cotton, you know what I'm saying, like the after dentist thing, I would say as long as you don't have that in, you'll be back. You'll be here. You know what I mean? Not Wednesday. Wednesday's not happening. But
no, I mean with a fucking straw. Like I was drooling. I got the one lip because like my whole face turned because it was so fucking. I couldn't say an S word. We go back and listen to shows 4 days ago. I couldn't even say an S word, and I felt like every word became like Sixers. And I was like, Jesus Christ! Like I'm gonna have to go 76. Where what? I might grow up with the tat. All right.
I didn't say it this time.
Kiss my ass with that damn tat.
Is that Tori's burner? Is Mike Grimm? Is that Tori?
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, everybody. Gone goes. Don, everybody. John, Ricky. We love y'all. San. No, we have a 4th round pick.
No, we don't.
Oh, well. Does it even matter?
Thanks, Howie.
Does it even matter?
Jacob miss anyway.
Jacob, don't start. Don't start, Jacob. Peace. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Pop, love you, baby. Moe, what up, my brother? We love you. Mark Sullivan. You missed everything, but listen, you go back. Listen, go back. I want Surtain or Pitts. I know Rye's right around there with me, so
yes, sir.
We're good there. But I'll take any of these like 5 top guys. But you can go back and listen everywhere. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there. iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Speaker, Google Play, SoundCloud, everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Obviously, you can go back there and watch us live. Wherever you're at right now, though, hit that damn like button on the video, right? Subscribe to whatever page you're on, and we're everywhere. You even got TikTok, we're over there. Instagram, we're over there. Everywhere. Find us, baby, because not only do we have live shows daily and more than one, we got social content going out all day for the people. Philly sports plus some is a good way of saying it. Mm-hmm. So we love you all. For Tom Arnone, Ryan Brodo, we want to thank the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. And we know many of our families and us deal with mental health and addiction issues, and we're happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. Listen, if you need help, please call 856-651-8117. My guy, Rob Lutman, I trust him. So if anybody needs help, reach out. And for the mental health side, televisits, so you don't have to go in anywhere. So anybody call in. Anybody. And we're also brought to you by bodycheckwellness.com, and you can use the promo code A2D 20% off. You want to know how I do a show a day, maybe 2, maybe 3? Clarity and Focus from bodycheckwellness.com. Promo code A2D, 20% off. I love it. Go check out their product. 20% off at checkout. Soak it in. I got a wellness pack, great CBD oils. All right, Body Check Wellness is a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. So gummies, everything. Anything you guys can want. Anything you want. Go check them out. Bodycheckwellness.com. Promo code A2D. 20% off. We love you, fam. Later on tonight, you got Flight Zone coming up here, 9:30. So check out our boys Jimmy and Evan. They'll be spitting some fucking facts, I'm sure. Getting Twitter all wound up again.
Look out for their poll question.
Watch out for the poll. Hold on, Iowa. We're coming in for a landing. Listen, if you haven't yet, and wherever you're at, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. 100 people on YouTube. Hit that like right now, motherfuckers, before we sign off. We love y'all. Ride, great show.
You too.
Go eat your food. I gotta go rock a baby. We out.